Speedway Tavern. Speedway Tavern. Speedway Tavern. Speedway Tavern.
Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What's the news today? Have a drink, have your say. All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Webby, GA, and Matt are here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Come and have your say.
Ipswich up to the Premiership. Peterborough up to the Premiership. Birmingham up to the Championship. Eastbourne up to the Championship. Leicester down to the Championship. Somerset down to the Championship. Workington win the Championship. Well done. But they've gone the way of Rye House. Let's hope the season ahead is just as eventful, but for the right reasons. Only in Speedway. Good evening once again. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. With us tonight we have got our very own Matt Buck.
Good evening.
We have got Chris Webby Brown. And we've got
The milk tray man in the corner.
Dear. Yeah, it started already.
I've got a biscuit.
And we've got a full show tonight, haven't we?
Massively
We've got,
full, yep.
Paul Ackroyd coming in from the Ben Fund. We've got Danny King coming on and Ben Barker coming on. So
Yep.
we need to get moving. But I need to ask you all a very, very important question. Did you like the new theme song?
Yeah, it was good.
You okay? We okay
Yeah,
with
it's
that?
all right.
Just get a few little bits and pieces cleared up. If you want to take part in tonight's show, you can put your positions known. That's your position.
That don't sound right.
That
That
sounds
doesn't at
dreadful.
all sound right.
I know
It
what you
started
mean,
already. You can let us know via Facebook, via Twitter, via the shout box on the SRB Radio
Yep,
web
I'll
page.
get that up in a bit.
Would you like to-
Which is on www.srbradio.com.
.com.
Oh,
wow.
.com.
And what about Facebook?
Yeah, on
How
Facebook
do-
as well.
how
yeah.
do we- how do
Okay,
we do
so if you go to Facebook, best way to find us is if you go to the top left-hand corner where it's got the big F. Put
Careful.
UK Speedway Tavern, and that will come to us. As soon as you get to the big red
And
logo,
then you can see us.
yeah.
It's possibly not a good idea.
Don't put him off.
I'm the man in black this evening.
You
Have you
don't-
seen a little silhouette
Can I have
of a
some of
man?
what he's on?
Scaramouche.
Well, I want you to go away now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so while he goes away, we'll have a little chat about, wow, what an eventful... We knew it was going to be an eventful close season.
It has been, yeah.
But it really has. What's your take on things?
It's going to be interesting, I think. When I went to the Wolves talk at the end of last season, Chris Van Stratton and Peter Adams both said that 2019 is really going to be a season of consolidation for British Speedway and to try and make sure as many clubs as possible survive. And of course, unfortunately, we've already lost one in Workington. So
Yeah, that's...
after arguably their greatest ever season, which is a real...
There was a bit of a
Well,
shock because
yeah.
they'd signed their riders and everything, and
Yeah.
then I think they just looked at the numbers and thought,
It's not
we
going to
can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Interesting comments from David Mason about, I mean, everybody's aware, I guess, that Birmingham's put the team together in a bit of a budget, and he's been mentioned that some of the riders that he spoke to were asking what he what he claimed was astronomical figures, and some of those riders we know were riders that ended up at Workington, and then they closed. You got to cut your cloth accordingly.
I mean, I think even Glasgow have said this season's got to be a season where they've got to start, balancing the books more. Although I think they've signed Craig Cook as well, which is not going to come cheap affairs. But
no. Yeah, I mean, we will talk a lot more next week on the relative values of all the different teams and where we think we'll do our predictions and get them mightily wrong again. So we'll do that next week. But this week is all about the meeting that's going on Sunday at Leicester, the Ben Fund.
The traditional season opener.
And of course they didn't have one last year for one reason and another. It kept getting cancelled and rained off. We keep our fingers crossed for the weather for this one, because it's
not very nice. It's not very nice out in the moment.
No, it's not. Yeah, I've had to peg my car down. So, have we got our first guest online? Right, we're just going to just press a few buttons here and hope this wonky lead works that Chris has just got out of his pocket. And so
I'm proceeding.
Okay, so hopefully we have Mr. Paul Ackroyd on the line. Are you there, Paul?
Yes, I am indeed.
Excellent, fantastic. It's worked. The sticky tape worked. Fantastic. So a very, very important weekend for you coming up.
Yes, it is indeed. We've got our Ben from Bonanza meeting at Leicester is coming Sunday, and this is our 10th anniversary of the staging of this meeting.
Fantastic. And I mean, I imagine it's taken you a lot of work to sort of put the lineup together. How do you actually go about doing that? Booking the riders and putting the lineup together?
Well, basically, we begin with the top riders in the world and invite all the Grand Prix riders, and we work our way down through the best riders in Great Britain, and eventually we come up with a field of people or riders who are willing and able to help us on the day. Okay,
so I mean it's quite noticeable from a fan's point of view that there are perhaps a few riders there that are not there. Sorry, that would put bottoms on seats.
Yes, I mean obviously it would be nice to have 2 or 3 Grand Prix riders there. It would be nice to have the British champion there and the world champion, but for various reasons, their availability is not for this Sunday to help us.
My phone's doing funny things.
Switch it off.
So, but even so, looking at the lineup that you've got, it's not a bad lineup at all, is it?
No, it's very solid, and it's hard to pick a winner out of the guys who are going to be there on Sunday. There's some good riders: Nick Morris, Danny King, Sam Masters, Ben Barker, Richie Warren, Justin Sedgman, Richard Lawson. So it's very solid, and I think we've got a good mix to provide some really entertaining racing without an out-and-out clear winner.
Yeah, we've just had that discussion in the studio actually about who we thought would win it, and our friend Matt, say hello, Matt.
Hiya.
He's a Wolverhampton supporter, so he said Nick Morris is going to win, obviously.
Okay.
But we shall see. Yeah, I'm hoping to pop up and see the match on Sunday. So obviously you've got a particular format for the match, and I believe there's other things happening as well.
There is indeed. The gates open to the public at 12 noon, and at 1:30 we will have 4 races of under 16 boys who the under 21 team manager is submitting those boys to us to race to give them experience and let the public see how they're getting on. And also we've got a blast from the past with the veterans, who many people enjoy watching, and these guys enjoy performing in front of the public and reminding some of our older spectators of what Speedway used to be. So that will pretty much be wrapped up by about 1:15, 1:20. And then some public have kindly booked track walks, and Sam Amalenko and Kenny McKinnon will be conducting those. And they'll spend some time walking around the track, telling them what the riders are looking for, how they see, how they enter the bends and what they do, what they think and how they react. And so that will be quite a good experience. And then, of course, we've got our big presentation at 2 o'clock where several of our paraplegic guest riders will be present. And after the meeting, we'll have an auction where all the race jackets will be auctioned off, in addition to some jackets and trophies that Tommy Knudsen has kindly donated to the Benevolent Fund. So in all, we've tried to put a nice package together of everybody, or for everybody's needs, with some interest there.
Yeah, I think Matt was going to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Knudsen, of course, a legend at Coventry and, of course, Denmark back in the 80s and 90s, and a great touch of him because there's some race jackets and I believe other things that he's donating as well, Paul.
Yes, indeed. I'm grateful to Tommy. Tommy and I know each other from the days when he was racing and I was a referee. And it's nice that he's thinking about the Benevolent Fund and he acknowledges what the fund does, and he feels that it's his way of contributing to the event.
And what's the format for the actual meeting? Is it 20 heats or?
Yeah, there's 20 heats and one semi-final and a final. So it's pretty clear-cut and fairly straightforward.
So it's the same format as the British final then, basically?
Yeah. It is indeed, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, and perhaps you could run through a little bit of the background of how the Ben Fund started and the work that you do on behalf of the riders.
Okay, well, the Speedway Riders Benevolent Fund was formed on the 26th of September in 1947 by a gentleman called Sir Arthur Elvin, who was the managing director of Wembley Stadium at the time. And in that era, they'd had quite a few serious accidents and injuries and a few fatalities. And Sir Arthur and his colleagues decided that they would set up a fund to try and help some of the guys who got into trouble through injury. And so they formed a fund with £6,200 at the time, and it was set up for Speedway riders or retired Speedway riders for their dependents in the way of grants and loans, educational fees, and generally to help a rider who'd become injured as a result of Speedway racing. So 70 years later, the fund is still very active and is growing, and on an average year, it would give out around £100,000, £120,000 worth of grants and assistance to riders here in the UK who have had accidents racing for a British club.
So it's obviously a very, very needed and welcome thing for the riders.
Yes, indeed. On an average year, around 40 to 45 riders would receive some help, financial assistance, in addition to our 12, 13 paraplegics based here in the UK, who we give ongoing support. And the support that is given is very much a crucial lifeline to the long-term injured riders, and it provides financial support for capital projects, often related to lifetime changes in domestic circumstances, and it's absolutely vital for them, and it's vital that the fund keeps going. And the Bonanza meeting is our biggest fundraiser of the year, and it normally brings in around about 30 to 40% of our intake of cash on an annual basis. So it's vital that we run the meeting, and also vital that we get a good attendance and turnout.
So I would imagine that this year in particular, given all the trials and tribulations you had last year trying to run the meeting, and ultimately it didn't happen, of course, I would imagine this year is more important than ever, that as many people attend as you can get down there.
It is. It's imperative. Last year we didn't have any income. The meeting at Peterborough was aborted because of the beast from the east, and we were relying on the income from that meeting to give us a kickstart for the year. At that time, we'd committed spending £21,000 on some capital projects for our paraplegic riders, and we didn't get the income in there to help us to pay for that. So therefore, we had to rely on our savings to generate the income to deal with that. And then it's fair to say throughout the year, track collections, which are held annually at each stadium, they didn't begin until late summer. So we ran pretty much from the start of the year last year till August without any income whatsoever. We were saved in many respects because we received two very nice donations from two people who had died and left some money to the Benevolent Fund. And in truth, they helped out enormously until we got the track collections in towards the end of the year. But we did miss the income from the Bonanza meeting.
I also read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, that the fines that are given out by the referees, those are also donated towards the Ben Fund, is that right?
That is correct, yes. If a rider is unfortunate enough to get fined for whatever reason, that fine actually comes to the Benevolent Fund. So it's not a bad cause, and the rider who does get fined, at least he's contributing towards the Benevolent Fund in a strange way.
Fantastic. So, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the fans don't know a lot of these ins and outs of how things end up in the Benevolent Fund, and I think probably most of us thought that the BSPA probably pocketed that, but it's nice to know that that's not true.
No, we get the money, and on an average year we would probably get around about £9,000 from fines of various descriptions for various reasons from the riders.
Okay, and if I was a rider and like for instance, our own Mitch Davey had a horrendous accident, as you will be aware, last year. Do you approach him or does he approach you? How does that actually work?
It's a two-way thing. A lot depends on the team manager and how conscientious the team manager is and how caring he is. A lot of team managers will contact us immediately that, something severe has happened, and just say, hey, this sounds, such a rider's had a really bad crash. It's going to be very serious, and he would alert us to what has happened. Alternately, a promoter, they'll be in contact. And thirdly, it would be one of the rider's family or a fellow rider who would be in touch with us. So between the promoters, team managers, riders and riders' family, that is how they would approach us. We are Speedway people, the trustees and myself keep up to date with what's going on. And so we see for ourselves, yes, somebody has had a bad incident, and quite often we'll initiate something from the very beginning. And an example of that was within minutes of Ricky Ashford's crash, when he had his horrible accident. Within minutes, I was alerted that there was a big problem, and throughout that evening and the following morning, we were on top of the game, and within hours, something was organised to help his family to overcome the problems that they would face financially and logistically over the next few days. And an example of that was Ricky's parents. Ricky was in the hospital in Hull, and the first night or the second night, his parents were sleeping in the van, and immediately we got a hotel, got them put in a hotel, and made sure they were looked after for the duration of his injury.
And I think, Ricky Ashworth is absolute fantastic example of the good work that the Ben Fund does, and it's going to be very emotional, isn't it, on Saturday when he comes out on his tandem and does.
It is. Ricky's really looking forward to coming. He desperately wants to feel part of the show again. He wants to be reintegrated into the Speedway world, and it's very good for his mind, and it's very helpful to him to feel he's doing something. And even more pleasing for Ricky is the fact Sam Amarenko, who was Ricky's hero, Sam is going to be shadowing Ricky round on a bike as well alongside him, and so that's going to be great and really good for people to see. And people will see that because they've done it. They've helped to do that from the money that they've given. And anybody who goes and sees Ricky, they can say, "Well, I've contributed. I've made that happen by either attending a Ben Fund meeting or by donating money."
Well, I think it's going to be true to say. I reckon that the biggest cheer of the night will be
for Ricky Ashworth.
Will be for Ricky, and as I said, I think it's a great place to finish it. Actually, I think that just is the whole purpose behind the Ben Fund. And anybody that's listening, get yourselves down there. Get yourselves down there. It's important.
Yes, indeed. What I'd like people to understand is their attendance is their donation. Most people have their favourite charities, and people, put money in envelopes and send it off, or if they're in the supermarket and somebody's collecting. By attending the meeting, their admission money is their personal donation to the fund. And in return for that, we're providing an afternoon of entertainment. And I can't express enough, everybody who comes, the money they give to get into the stadium, that is their personal donation to the Benevolent Fund.
Brilliant. I'm aware that I've got two other guests waiting on the phone, so I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. But excuse me, I just wanted to, as I made you aware earlier, we have people coming on the shout box and so on with questions and comments.
Cool.
We just had this comments from a gentleman you might know called Lawrence Rogers.
Yes.
And he's just letting us know that there is a book out that Bruce Cribb is bringing out very soon, with all profits going to the permanently injured riders via the Ben Fund.
Yeah.
And it's priced at 12, and he's going to be at Leicester taking orders for that book.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And there is a page in the book about the Benevolent Fund. So we're grateful to Bruce for doing that and exposing the Ben Fund, and for any monies that are attributed from that. We're very grateful for that.
Brilliant, and it just shows you the wider Speedway family, as we
Speedway family always sticks together, doesn't it? So it looks after its own.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, Paul. Good luck on Sunday. I hope to come and shake your hands on Sunday as well. And yeah, just thanks very much and good luck.
Good. Well, thank you also for the opportunity, and for anybody who's listening, we'll be very pleased to see you on Sunday.
Fantastic.
The track staff are working extremely hard this week to make sure the meeting goes ahead, and we're having some poor weather over the next 2 days, but everything will be okay on Sunday.
Fingers crossed. Thanks again, Paul, and you take care.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Well, I think it just underlines completely the importance of the work that's been doing. And I'm just going to pass this phone back to our chief engineer there. Here you go. It's all good. It's all good technical stuff here in the studio today. Let's take this thing off. So Chris is going to try and get hold of our next guest, Danny
Got to do some
King.
more work.
Yeah,
I'm afraid so. It's about time. You haven't done anything for 6 months. It's about what feels like 6 months.
Six feels like it.
Yeah.
I'm just your bitch.
I told you not to tell everybody that out loud.
Not sure that you want to be getting out in public, is it?
And of course, well, I mean, we will talk to Danny and ask him about how his injury is, because
Yeah.
he'll have been one of the riders that has benefited.
Well, I mean, we mentioned there about Tommy Knudsen donating his trophies and some of his race jackets. Well, I mean, Tommy was, right,
Who am I
who
getting
had
now, Ben
a
Barker?
lot of
The other one.
a lot of serious injuries during his career, didn't he, Tommy Knudsen? So
Yes.
and Sam Malenko as well. Obviously, Sam's been a big supporter of the Bent Fund over the years as well, even though he's not riding anymore. I mean, Sam had some
I have to say, I'm getting more and more
horrendous ones,
excited
so-
by the actual meeting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be great to see Ricky Ashworth and
I have to be honest. To my shame, I've only been to one Bent Fund meeting, and that was the one that was at Birmingham in 2012.
I've been to two.
But hopefully at some stage I will be able to do. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make Leicester on Sunday, but I'm hoping in the future that I will be able to go to some.
Well, you
Fund
do what you
meetings.
can, and
A lot of it
but-
depends, of course, on where it is, because I mean they do like to move
Yes,
the
which I
event
think,
around, so.
which I think is a good idea as well. But yeah, so I mean, just if you can get down there.
Yeah.
Is the thing. And do you know what? You don't even have to get down there. You
It's
just
just-
make a donation.
It isn't even important for winning or losing the meeting, is it? It's just a chance to see some racing for the first time in months. So
Okay, so if we were just about to talk to Danny, and then the lead fell out. That's just great technology. Hopefully, we have Danny on the phone now.
How you doing?
Yes, we do.
Hi, Danny.
Fantastic. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, really well, thanks.
So, obviously, you're riding this weekend in the Ben Fund, and I guess, given the year that you've had, it's quite an important thing for you to sort of try and put something back.
Absolutely, it's a meeting that I always support, and I've only missed 2 or 3 since it began, and it's for a great cause, and it's really helped out some riders along the way, and without it people would struggle with it, that's for sure. So always an honour to represent the Ben Fund and raise money, but also for me it's nice to get back on a bike, being off for so long.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how is the arm?
It's good, yeah, it's good. It's been a funny old time really, but it's on the mend, and I've been on the bike probably 4 times now, and it's got better and better each time, and I feel ready now. I feel ready to go to the tapes and ready to get the season rolling.
And have you give yourself any targets for this year, or is it just get back on the bike and start enjoying it again?
Yeah, just get back on the bike. It's sort of been it's been a bit of a nightmare for me the last year really. Finishing 2017 with a broken wrist, and then only managing to last till May until the arm injury last year. It's sort of been a bit of a nightmare. So just get back into a rhythm, get back scoring the points, and go from there.
I was wondering if it's okay if you could outline a little bit how the Ben Fund has sort of come in and helped you, and how that all sort of worked.
Yeah, well, obviously when we're not riding, we're not getting paid. So the Ben Fund comes in to help riders who have been unfortunate and are not earning money, and to try and get them through. And it's a great cause, as I said earlier, and it's helped many riders throughout the years. And that is why that most of the riders, if not all riders, are more than happy to support and do their bit.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to win this weekend?
I am. I haven't told anyone yet, so don't tell anyone else, but I am, yeah.
Well, you'll have, being an ex-Brummie rider, you'll have one person shouting for you anyway. So. Excuse me. And just after we finish with you, if I can put it that way, we've got an old mate of yours coming on who you struck a really good partnership with at Birmingham, Ben Barker.
Yeah, definitely.
So when I speak to him, have you got any messages for him about what's going to happen on Sunday?
Yeah, yeah. I'm keeping it quiet. I'm keeping it low key. I don't want to set the bar too high. But
we are talking about Ben Barker here, so he's not going to be keeping it low key.
No, exactly that. Ben's a good lad, and obviously celebrates his testimonial this year, and just want to wish him the best of luck with that. And a guy who thoroughly deserves it. He's been in the sport a long time, and he's entertained many people over the years, that's for sure.
He sure has, yeah. Well, I'm really sorry it's such a short interview tonight, but Paul kept us up and going for quite a long time, so we need to try and get through a little bit more. But before we leave, you're racing for Ipswich and Sheffield this year.
That's correct.
Yep.
And so, I mean, you've got a long sort of history with Ipswich, but Sheffield?
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Your
it's
sort
one
of
of my
track, I'm
favourite.
guessing.
Sorry?
Your sort of track, I'm guessing.
Yeah, one of my favourite tracks. Just about to say it's a racer's track. It suits me down to the ground. And when the phone call came in, it was very easy to do a deal. To get to ride that sort of track as a home track is fantastic. And as I say, I've had sort of 7.5 months off the bike now since the injury, and I am keen as ever to get back on it. That's for sure.
I mean, with Ipswich, Dan, it's a big season for Ipswich, of course. First season back in the top flight in, I think, 10 years. So Ipswich, I would always perceive as being traditionally a top flight club. So it's a real exciting time there at Vauxhall this season.
Absolutely, it's for me, it's where they belong. My last major stint with them was when they was in the top league, and it was the only reason I left. In fact, was the fact that they dropped down a league into the Premier League at the time, now the Championship. So, that's why I left, and obviously sort of rekindled our relationship, shall we say? And here I am now, back in the top flight, and it's as I say, it's a season I'm really looking forward to.
Should say as well, best wishes to John Louis in his retirement.
Yes,
that's end of an era there at Vauxhall, really, with John retiring. So,
yeah,
absolutely. Okay, well, Dan, excuse me, I've got a bad cough this morning.
This morning. Tom's
it started already. It really has. Okay, Danny. Good luck on Sunday. Hope to be there and see you. And really looking forward to seeing you come over to Birmingham with Sheffield. At least I think I'm looking forward to you coming over. With Sheffield. Go easy on us. Go easy on us, mate.
I'm looking forward to it, guys.
Okay, right. You take care, Danny, and have a good one. Have a good one.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
He's giving me the finger again.
Pardon? Can I just say while I'm mic'd up is that I'm having trouble on the SRB radio page, so I'm not ignoring you. It's just that when I go on there, it seems to be cutting the stream out. So if you can hear me, we know you're there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say there's not been too many people coming on the shout box and so on tonight, but maybe it's just interesting stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's been a bit of an experiment for us tonight to have this many guests on, and that's why we're sort of chomping through them quite.
We're for a lie down, I think, after this.
I think so. But yeah, no, it's.
I'll just quickly go through some of the comments.
Yes, of course, please.
So Paul
please
Wood
do.
says you don't need GP riders; it's the racing that counts. That's good. I'm going back quite a lot.
I agree with that.
Barney says, "Go on, Lawrence, push Bruce's book." Fred Graham said he's listening while watching the Champions League. He's from Glasgow.
Perhaps Fred Graham could put a couple of the scores up for us. That'd be
good,
nice.
Yeah. And Dave Twine says, "I loved Kingy and Ben riding for the Brum."
Yeah, I think
good engineering pairing, weren't they?
Yeah, they were great. They were. Yeah, it was always a buzz when they came out on the track together, and they did complement each other. I mean, great times and bad times all rolled in one that period.
Yeah, there was some great, I have to say there was some great racing in that elite league era for Birmingham. I know it ended sourly, but there was some good times as well.
There was the arrival of Nico Cavati was quite exciting as well. He was always one. I'm sad not to see him riding for us this year, but
but of course he will be appearing at Birmingham, of course, for some settling he's riding for. So
yes, yeah. So we'll see a few old friends this year. Ben Barker, of course, being one of them, who we'll be speaking to in a little while. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Ben Fund helped Danny out for what was a very. I mean, we didn't really get a chance to touch on it, but he's had it was a bit of a strange one with his arm, wasn't it?
Yeah, you think a couple of years ago, I mean, he won the British Championship. I mean, it was a bit of a surprise winner, I think. But I mean, since then his career's really been sort of dogged, hasn't it, by knocks and niggling injuries, which have kept him out of the saddle for quite a bit. So hopefully, we can have a good run at this season and stay injury free.
Right, I believe.
You might have to push it back in. Okay. He's
Okay.
got 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay, push it in.
We're just having a little bit of trouble with our wires.
This is really good to watch, isn't it?
I
Sorry.
bet it. Yeah.
There we go.
Hopefully, we have Ben on the phone. Are you there, Ben? Oh, we can't
Push it
hear
in.
you.
Push
We're
it
just
in a bit, Paula. Push it in. That's got it.
try that. Are you there, Ben? No.
Bit of force. Bit of force.
Okay, are you there, Ben?
Yeah, I'm still there.
That's
Hey,
it, brilliant. Yeah, we couldn't hear you through the speakers, but it's all working now. Fantastic. How you doing, Ben?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good.
So we've been talking about the Ben Fund a little bit tonight, but I think the first thing we want to talk about is you've got a bit of a special year this year.
Yeah, it's my testimonial year. It's also my 10th anniversary for the Ben Fund. So it's all a good year, really. Everything's going good.
Yeah, I was reading an old interview with you saying that what you wanted to do was to do 10 Ben Funds, and well, you've
I've
done it.
changed that now.
Have you?
Yeah.
What have you changed it to now?
Well, I'm going to do it till I retire, and then I'll see how far we get.
You're trying to set a record on this then?
Yeah, I want to set it. It's going to be set in stone.
Right, okay, so you heard it here first.
We did,
folks.
yes.
So anyway, tell us about your testimonial and what you've got planned and who's riding and when it is.
So we've got a 4-team tournament at Redcar, 23rd of March, 3 p.m. start. We've brought over Workington, with the misfortune that's happened. I thought it'd be great for the Workington fans to be able to see them in action. So we've got a Workington team coming over, which was 4 of the riders that was going to ride this year, which is great for them. And we've got a Newcastle team, which is right next door to Redcar, as we know. And we've got a Borough Bears team, so we're going to bring Middlesbrough back to Speedway action.
Excellent,
yes.
and very different way of doing a testimonial, because normally they're individuals, but I think it's fair to say most people like to see a bit of racing against teams.
Yeah, that's it. And I wanted to bring the Borough Bears back. A big sponsor of mine, Echo Supplies. He's a Middlesbrough lad, and we really wanted to try and get something, and it's good. So we've made it a little bit different. There's still going to be an individual side to it at the end of the meeting, so everyone's still got to be going for it. It's not all about a team event. So it's hopefully it's going to be a great day.
It's quite scary to think that you've been doing this for 10 years, because
It makes me feel old enough that.
I remember the very first time that I saw you, which you was riding for Stoke against Birmingham, and we did our usual Brummie war cry, and then you came on the mic and thought, I haven't had any of that, and did a Stoke war cry. I don't know whether you remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it too long. My body, the only thing that tells me how long I've been doing it is my body. But no, it's good. I love it. I love the sport. It's great. And, it'd just be nice to hopefully get a lot of people turn out and enjoy the day as much as I'm going to with the family.
I think everybody's been starved of Speedway for long enough now, so
We're ready for that fix, aren't we, sir?
We need that fix. So I think it's going to be a good day. I'm sure it is, and hopefully your testimonial as well will. I think you've one of these riders that always you can see always trying. It doesn't matter whether you're half a lap behind or half a lap in front.
Yeah, well, it's an entertainment business, isn't it? This is what I try to. This is why I get. We're there to entertain people. You're not there to race for 3 laps. You're there to race from starting line to finish line. That's it. And so we're just going to go there. We're going to enjoy the day, and hopefully we get a lot of support. I've had people telling me they're coming from Stoke, people telling me they're coming from Birmingham, people telling me they're coming from Plymouth, people are telling me coming from Peterborough, Workington. So hopefully, it'll be a great day for everyone.
Well, I'm sure it will be. Have you got anything else planned as well as the racing?
Yeah, there's a few things planned, but they're not quite ready to be released yet.
Okay.
But there's going to be some good stuff, and it will be exciting. So, there's going to be an auction and things, all them, the normal things that happen after as well. We're going to have a big involvement with all the kids. Because let's face it, they're the next generations of the Speedway fans. So we've got to keep them and make sure they enjoy the day as much as I do.
I mean, I don't know whether you're aware of what was happening at Birmingham last year with second halves and during the intervals and so on, to try and get the kids involved. And I think there needs to be a lot more of that in Speedway. Do you not think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got the British youth team. I've got 8 of the British youth lads coming along to represent Young Lions. So it's just going to be a bit about them as well, and hopefully they enjoy the day and things like that. Really
fantastic. Well, just to let you know, I've just spoken to Danny King, and he's told me that he's going to win it on Sunday.
Yeah, all right, Kingy. Yeah, no, me and Danny are good mates. We're great, and got a lot of time for him. And I'm gutted. I'm absolutely devastated he can't be at my testimonial. He's got a meeting the same day, which is a great shame because I've known him a long time. But let's go for it Sunday.
Well, yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting, I think, to see that. I mean, you two struck up such a great partnership when you was at Birmingham. It was a bit of a, we've just been talking about it. It was the place was always buzzing when you guys came out on the track together. Yeah,
I remember the Turbo Twins getting beat by us.
Yes, I remember that.
Me and Danny on the track. Probably isn't. We were pretty good together. Yeah. We knew what we were going to do, and if we done something we didn't mean to, there was never any malice, So, he's a great guy, and hopefully everybody else comes out and enjoy the event on Sunday at the Ben Fund. It's a great cause. They've helped me, and I'm sure they helped Danny through his injury. So it's something that I've put every year into it, and I'll be doing the same this year. And it's something I want to win, and get along there and support it. It's a great cause, and you will see some great racing for sure.
Absolutely. Well, the guys sold it, I think.
I think so, yep.
Yeah. Get yourselves there. Just one last sort of question. You're racing this year in the championship for Red Car, obviously, which is where you're having your testimonial. Yep. Peterborough, I don't remember that being one of your favourite tracks.
No, but then I went there. After I come back from my really bad back injury, and I kind of set it, I got used to it really quick. But, I'm going there as number 7, so,
Well, I think
it should be not too bad.
Yeah, I think you'll pick up a few points there.
That's the aim, and I just want to have a good year, injury-free, enjoy it. My family are getting older now, you see, and I've got 3 boys at home. All they want to do is start racing, and so...
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I want them to. I've had so much fun. I'm still having fun. I'm loving every minute I race a bike. So I want them to come along. I want them to be there. They're a massive part of it for me.
Well, we've just had a tweet come up on the what's directed to you, so I'm going to read it out to you. It's probably going to be the last thing that I'll read to you. It says, does Ben think that Birmingham have a weak team? Everybody seems to think we will finish bottom.
Well, do you know what? See, I was sat there with my phone in November after the AGM, and I heard Birmingham might be coming up, and I thought, you never know.
Yeah, we would have loved it, to be fair.
Let's face it, I thought, you never know.
Yeah.
Because I've got a lot of time for Birmingham. I love the fans. I love everything. I mean, obviously, would have been a big decision for me to move away from Redcar because it's been my home for 2 years. I make somewhere my home, and the fans grow to me, and I wouldn't have wanted to leave Redcar. And if I was going to leave Redcar to go anywhere in that league, it would have been Birmingham, but my phone didn't ring, so there's not much,
Well, there's nothing you can do about that. But
on paper, if you compare the 2 teams, I mean, I'm in a very good side at Redcar.
That's a diplomatic answer.
That is, yes.
Yeah, and I think we'll leave it at that. Lawrence Rogers says, we have a very solid side, underestimate us at your peril. There
That's
you go.
it. I wish Birmingham every success.
Yeah.
And if they ever want a guest, get on the phone. I will come there and I'll, do you know what I'm saying? I want to represent people. So, I wish them every success, but it's just not as much as Redcar this year.
Well, I think that's fair enough. And in the same token, we're sort of looking forward to you coming down to Birmingham with Redcar this year.
With
but
Tom Bacon coming back as well with Redcar.
It would be
Yes.
good.
Yes, and
I
Tom-
love the place.
yeah.
Birmingham was a home for mine, and I loved it. And it has a special place. And I've just been announced I'm even going back to Stoke for the Pride of the Potteries this year,
we
which
just
is
read
fantastic.
that, yes, yeah. So that's all good stuff. I just, I hope you have a decent time, but not too good. That's all I can say. but you'll get a cheer off the supporters.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway. So there you go. Right, thanks again, Ben, for coming on.
All right, mate. No worries. Thank you very much.
No problem. You have a great year, mate.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
See you soon, mate.
Thanks, Ben.
Cheers, mate.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ben's always good value, isn't he?
Nearly a little accident there, didn't we?
Oh gosh, hold on while we sort this spaghetti junction out here. There you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's it. You can go back to sleep now.
Yeah.
I'm knackered.
Right, so we have 10 minutes talking to do. One of the great Speedway servants, I think, Ben Barker. I think he's one of those riders that if he's not in your team, you don't like him. If he's in your team, you love him.
Marmite, I think, is probably the.
That's a good.
In some ways, isn't it?
Yeah. But what he did for us at Birmingham was, it was just top notch. So, cheers, Ben. So let's have a quick chat about your feelings on Wolverhampton, because we mentioned Birmingham a few times tonight. So it's only fair to let you have a.
I was catching, I think.
I think it must be, yeah.
Do you want to have a good cough and I'll turn your mic off?
Go on then, yeah.
Hang on, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty happy with the Wolves team this season. It's going to be an interesting season. I think the two issues that Wolves had last season really was not being strong enough in the big heats, and always having a weaker reserve. I mean, you look down the team this season. I mean, obviously Nick Morris is coming from Swindon. I think that was fairly clear at the end of last season. That Nick Morris, I mean, Chris Van Stratton has said that they've tried to sign Nick Morris a couple of times. Rory Schline's obviously come back as well. Sam Masters, who had a
I've got a lot of time for
season
Rory Schline actually
last year. Yeah. It's a shame, of course, he's not going to be at Birmingham for the opening meeting when Wolves go there. But of course, he'll be there. I think the week after when Somerset are there. So. Ashley Morris, of course, who's also riding for Birmingham in the Championship. Jakob Torsel's back. Luke Becker, the American, making his debut this season, and Carl Houth as well. So Wolves solid all the way through, and I think in comparison to some of the other teams, that Wolves are definitely going to be amongst the favourites to.
Luke
be
Becker's going to be an interesting one.
I'm looking forward to. I've not seen him ride before, but I'm. I know that I was at the evening with Ronnie Corrie last night at the Cleveland Arms, and Ronnie thinks very highly of Luke Becker, and of course he's going to be helping him as well settle in. Obviously, it's going to be nice to have I mean, Wolves have always had a great tradition with the Americans, obviously Ronnie and Sam and people like that who rode in that era. So there's I would expect him to be at reserve all the way through the season, along with Ashley Morris, who had a great season for us last year, but I think sort of was handicapped a little bit by the fact that the structure of the team meant that he ended up riding at number 2 for quite long periods of this team, which was probably just a little bit above where Ash is at the moment. But they should be, all being well, the reserves all the way through the season, and I think that's a fairly strong reserve pairing in the top flight.
I think you're right, yeah. I think that's where we're pinning our hopes on at Birmingham, is these strong.
Well, I think a lot of people are writing
reserves.
the Birmingham team off. I mean, it's a team built on a budget.
Yeah, you can know though, can't you? Lawrence Rogers is using that as motivation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to proving a few people wrong on that. I need to actually go to something else, which I should have done right at the beginning of the show, but everything's just happened so quickly tonight. Share the stream.
Yep.
If you can share the stream on Facebook, keep sharing and sharing and sharing, we will put you in A hat. Actually, it's a trophy.
It's a big hat.
We'll put your name in the trophy, not you, because it's not that big.
It is big, actually.
It is actually quite big, yes.
Yeah, and next week we'll draw a name out of the trophy, and whoever gets drawn will get a T-shirt, a SRB Radio T-shirt. Unless your name is Paul Wood, apparently.
Yes,
What's going on?
He's going to kill
Webber?
me. I know, he's going to kill. Well, he wanted the T-shirt.
His excuses are coming out now. I'm really sorry, Paul.
And it was a. How can I put this? It was a rather big T-shirt.
Okay.
This is the big lad. And I couldn't find.
It just sounds like an
I
excuse.
know, yeah. I'm making it up as I go along, but I couldn't find one at the time, and then I just forgot. Come clean.
At least he's honest about the.
Come clean.
So what we're saying, Paul, is we're very sorry.
Yeah.
But we haven't forgot now.
Yeah.
And we will send that T-shirt off
I think I
to
might
you.
have to go to a special shop.
Oh,
I shouldn't have said that, should I?
oh dear.
He won't mind. He's a good lad.
So anyway, get your streams shared, is what we're saying, and we'll shove you in that trophy, and you get a T-shirt to you.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about, I'm desperately padding because I had something I wanted to say and it's disappeared out of my head.
Okay.
The Alzheimer's is kicking in early. Next show. We already have lined up for next week's show a certain Mr. James Shanes.
Yep.
So
now a full-time Birmingham rider.
Yeah, and an asset and captain. And how many times has a reserve been a captain, I wonder?
Not very often.
That's a question for you guys out there. See if somebody can let us know. How many times has a reserve been a captain? Started the season off as a reserve, I think, is the key there. So that'll be interesting. We're hoping. Are you listening, Lawrence?
Yeah.
We're hoping to get David Mason on to talk about his testimonial as well, because that's the first meeting at Birmingham. Is the David Mace testimonial?
Well, farewell
against
testimonial
Birmingham.
was the same thing,
Yes,
isn't it? So-
farewell. Yeah. Okay. Which is against Birmingham versus Wolverhampton. So hopefully we might get a little bit of information on lineups and so on. That would be nice as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good stuff.
So yeah. there we
Okay,
go.
so Alan Swindle says Stoke got a decent side this year. Hopefully surprise a few people at the Potters.
Yeah,
Yes.
I look at Stoke's team. It is a much stronger team than it has been in recent seasons.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
And Lawrence says Luke Becker is a talent.
Yeah, I know that. I was just saying when I was at the Ronnie Corrie evening last night. Great evening, by the way, as well. You know, some great memories. I mean, Ronnie was, growing up as a kid, Ronnie was always my favourite rider. So it was nice to catch up with him. And it's a cliche, never meet your heroes, but you will not meet a nicer man in Speedway or anywhere than Ronnie Corrie. Fabulous bloke, and he was a great rider as well. But he's going to be helping. Obviously, he's going to be helping Luke Becker settle in, as is Sam, of course. Greg Hancock rates him highly very as well. So, if you're rated highly by a rider who's won the World Championship 4 times, then
I can't say better than that, can you?
Yeah.
Right. And Brendan says he's hoping that Thorsall is back to his best this season.
I think he will be. I think he'll do better this season. He won't have the expectation on him of going out and winning heat number 1, because I suspect Nick Morris is going to be the number 1, certainly at the start of the season. So,
yeah, I mean, he's come on leaps and bounds, Nick Morris.
He has. He's done really well. Didn't have quite as good a season last year, I don't think. Maybe went a little bit stale at Swindon. So I think moving to, and of course, a totally different track as well. Swindon is obviously a big track, and Wolverhampton a much smaller one. But he's done well at Wolverhampton in the past, so I think it'll be a good move for Nick.
Are you aware of the new pits that's being built at Birmingham?
Not until you told me about 45 minutes ago.
So we're having a brand new pit stuck on the end of so the old pits are still there, but we're going to have new pits built for the Midland League riders, not Midland League, whatever, Midland and Southern League riders. Yep. And I just think that's a wonderful statement of intent by the management.
Yeah.
It's creating an environment that riders will remember and want to be part of. So Lawrence Rogers, the reason I'm saying that is apropos of the fact that Lawrence Rogers has come on and said thanks to all those who have donated and taken part in the bonus ball in aid of the ball's new pits. All balls will be sold, so the winner will be known tomorrow. It might be us,
Yeah.
We've got one.
Come on.
Yeah.
You never told me this.
What's the
Oh, well.
prize? What's the prize?
It's a secret.
What's the prize? Is it money?
It's £250. Yes.
God.
Yeah.
Lawrence is my favourite person.
It's not what you said earlier. Well, on that note,
Get them balls.
yes,
Balls, January.
everybody. Good luck to everybody that's taken part in that. Good luck to everybody that's turning up on Sunday. And I will say this to anybody that turns up on Sunday. If you see me, if you want to come up and have a chat with me about the show,
Hit him.
Hit him.
or indeed if you want to hit me, if you want to have a chat about the show and what you'd like to see on the show, or just to say hi, that would be really, really cool.
Not very likely though, is it, sir?
It has happened. No, it has. You say
Did
that,
they
but
mistake
it
you for
has
somebody else?
That's why they was kicking me. Right, okay. No, it has happened, and it's just nice to know that people are watching the show and appreciate it, and etc. etc. So there we go. We will be back again at the same time next week.
Yep.
And have a good week. Take care, everybody.
Good night.